Hello and welcome to Pop Along RC, the RC car channel dedicated to RC car racing. And what a busy day it has been. Obviously, if you're a follower of the channel, you will know that we pop along to clubs all over the UK and race our RC cars. However, this weekend was going to be a nice, quiet one at my local club, but it was anything but quiet, partly because I was running two classes plus my son's car, which meant I was keeping on top of three cars during the event, which made for a very busy time. So to start with, I was running the GT12. I'm running the Schumacher Atom 3. Currently, I am running in that the Pace 95 ESC, and I think it's one of the rocket motors. The car is really starting to settle down now, starting to get the hang of it. I don't run it enough, but I was only one lap off the guys that are in the A final, which means a little bit more work to be done there. Having a chat with one of the regulars down at the club, changing the gearing, I think, is going to be an option for next week. So if I do continue with the Atom 3 next week, I'm going to look at changing the gearing. Hopefully I can get a little bit more out of the car around the track. But you know what? It is fun to drive. I like how planted the car is becoming, how predictable the car is becoming. It's definitely come on a long way since when I first set the car up. So a massive thank you to Mr. Gale for helping me with my car setup recently. So that was my main class for the day, the GT12. And you know what? I had a few close little battles on track, but I was a little bit faster than the guys behind me, and I was one lap off the guys in front of me. So it was an opportunity really just to put in some laps and some consistent laps. And if we have a look here at my fastest lap to my average lap, we can see that it's pretty close. Actually, my fastest lap to my top 10 average is looking pretty close there. However, the odd mistake, the clash with back markers, and a few clashes with the barriers means that my overall average could have done with being a little bit better. But some nice consistency and some nice stick time. Anyway, on to the other class that I was running. I was running my MO7. Again, this was up against the MTCs, the MTC fronties. So the cars that were running in that were mainly the Carton 210 and the Xpress cars. And do you know what? I think the MO7 has reached its limits with this class. It's worth noting that everyone at the club is running brushless tech. I'm still running the original torque tuned motor in it, which I think has long past its best, and I could do with changing it for a new motor. However, that being said, with the MTC Nationals this year, they have put in the rules that it has to be a 21.5 turn brushless setup. So therefore, if I do want to pursue the MO7 down that route, I'm going to have to go with a 21.5 turn brushless system in it, but gearing wise with the Tamiya cars doesn't really work. So what I'm probably going to do is, as I intend to do the MTC Nationals, is I am going to dust off my Carlton 210 frontie, which is just here, and I am going to get this car ready for racing. The reason I haven't raced it for a while is I had an issue with the servo. So currently I haven't got a servo for this. So as soon as I can get myself a low profile servo to go in here, I will get this car back on track. One of the Carton drivers, Mr. Heath, has said that he'll help me tweak this car and get it set up so it is ready for the Nationals this year. So looking forward to getting this car back on track and see how I can perform against the other MTC fronties. So that is a little job for me to do this week. Now, the next car that I was also trying to sort out throughout the day was my son's brand new FTX Banzai, which we featured in a recent video on the channel. Now, I big this car up as being super durable, super tough, and it can take a bit of a beating. And you know what? Today was no exception. Um, the car actually was running quite fast down the straight, and therefore some of the crashes it had were quite spectacular. the car does take a lot of abuse now. So what I was very conscious of with the FTX Banzai is the shell can be a little bit fragile, and when you're crashing it as much as some of the beginners crash, you need to look after those shells, because you can easily smash a shell up in the first outing. So what I chose to do is actually a little trick we've got from bashing and things. So to help that shall last a little bit longer, what I've done is I have got out the trusty shoe glue and I have reinforced the front of the shell. As you can see here from the footage, it's quite a simple process. If you get this mesh, the mesh actually gives it the support, and then the shoe glue sticks it down. It does add a little bit of weight to the front of the shell, so I wouldn't necessarily run it on a Atom slash GT12 shell, but the amount of weight that it would add to these areas means it might have more of an effect on the overall balance of the car, with a car which is as sensitive as a GT12. But if you're running with a Tamiya TT01, Tamiya truck, the Tamiya minis, any of these other brands such as the Carten M210 and also the FTX Banzai, putting a little bit of shoe glue just means that you're going to get a little bit of extra life out of your shells. So it's definitely worth reinforcing the shells, especially if you're a beginner, and can save you a few pennies. So this week I've been super busy trying to organise some of my RC parts. Now, I run a lot of cars. Mark also runs a lot of cars. And when we rock up at some race meets, we can appear a little disorganised. Me more than Mark, I think. But that's mainly because I run so many classes. So this week I've been out and I've bought myself a few little treats in the form of storage boxes. So in this box here, I have got all my 1/10 two-wheel drive buggy bits are in one box like so. Then from Halfords, I actually picked up this box here, which, as you can see in the top there, you have got compartments where you can put in all your little bits in there, and then underneath that I've got like spare chassis and bits and bobs. But this here is my box which I take out whenever I'm running Tamiya. So this is all my Tamiya spares, whether I'm running Tamiya minis, TT01s, Tamiya trucks. Everything I need, I know, is in that one box. And then over here, this box is everything I need if I am going GT12 racing. So in here, believe it or not, for starters, I've got a GT12 in there. I've got my manual. I've got all my spare tyres and everything you need. So I'm trying to make it a little bit easier. So if I'm going racing, I can literally grab a box and away we go, rather than hunting around the car rooms for all the little bits and bobs that we need. Then again, I've got another box here which is all set up with everything I need for the FTX Banzai. So it's basically my son's box. Not to mention, I've got the Paulers, which we have featured on the channel in the past. So another little dilemma I have got is whether to run the MO5, the MO3, or mix it up a little bit, go rear wheel drive and run an MO6 at the Iconic Cup this year. So I have got all three of those chassis. Part of me wants to get all three of them set up to race spec, so that I've got three cars that I can play around with on the day. But I just don't know what to do. What should I do? You guys pop it in the comments down below. Should I rebuild my MO3? Should I get a MO5 up and running? Should I go rear wheel drive and run an MO6? Should I run all three of them and mix and match as we go through the season? Pop it in the description down below and tell me what you think we should do. We are actually going to be booked into, I believe, 4 rounds of the Iconic Cup this year, so we're very much looking forward to getting out on the road with that. Let's just hope that the weather improves. So much to cover on the channel. We've got our grassroots racing, we've got our indoor racing, we've got our outdoor racing. Anything else you want us to do, pop it in the comments down below, and we shall see you trackside soon.